April 10th, 2025, continuing on the art concept. Look at this. No more talk. I'm not here to entertain my neighbors. No more talk. If they like my stuff, they can buy a painting. No more talk. We're just going to work on our art just as quiet as a mouse. That's a laugh. Okay, so watch what we do. Develop each concept, each idea. Remember, you have a viewer. You have somebody looking at your work. You might as well admit it. We've taken so much time in our culture, in our lives, in our society, politically and socially, to the point where we just want to say, oh, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what it looks like. It's how I feel that matters. But you know what? If you want someone to buy a painting, or if you want to get a job as an engineer, or if you want to just find fulfillment in designing something without actually getting paid, but you want to try to get paid, and you want to admit that it takes a little bit of approval from people who have a little change in their pocket, in order to find some of your fulfillment has to be. We live in a world, it's a physical world. Look at that. As I'm yakety yakking, we're developing the picture. Okay? And you can, you know what we need? Something in the middle to unify this picture. And actually, I would take too long, but I could make the stars actually serve as a unifying visual element, but it just takes too long. Okay, so I'll tell you what, we're studying the Pythagorean theorem. Okay, does anybody disagree? Raise your hand if you disagree. But better yet, just put it in comments if you disagree. We're studying the Pythagorean theorem. Okay, so let's just do a simple operation of respect of visual element of the Pythagorean theorem. And what we're going to do is, that's 90 degrees. That angle I just drew, now we're estimating, but that's probably very close. We are freehanding our geometry, because the only thing we really need to do is understand it right now. Okay, on a test, the teacher's probably not going to have a question that depends on freehand accuracy, only measured accuracy with regards to your geometry. But that's a 90-degree angle. If you disagree, raise your hand. Okay, let's say the angle goes all the way down to if that's 90 degrees and it's perpendicular, and that's the vocabulary word of the day, perpendicular. If it's 90 degrees and it's perpendicular to the bottom, that means that when this line, oh boy, I'm out of the frame. Okay, so this is a 90-degree angle. Okay, we're designating that. I mean, it's freehand, but it's probably pretty close. It looks to me like it's 90 degrees. How about you? Raise your hand if you disagree. So the angle, the base of the angle is, if that 90 degrees angle is perpendicular to the base of the imaginary plane, which is actually the plane at the bottom of the paper, or the line, which is the border of the plane of the paper, then what? Let me just put 90 degrees. I mean, let's not even do it. What are these two angles going to be? If this is 90 degrees and it's perpendicular to a flat plane, and all the angles of a triangle always add up to 180, that's 90 degrees. Let's see, I'll even give you one of them. That's 45 degrees, and that's 90 degrees. What's this one going to be? And then from there, you go on to some more complex calculations. But everybody needs to understand the basis of what I just said, which is simple. All the angles of any triangle will always add up to 180. I don't care if this is 35 degrees and this is 35 degrees, which is 70 if you add that up, and then you take 180 and subtract 70, and you have 110, which would make the third angle 110. These are calculations that, simple stuff you do in your head, because on a test, especially my pre-calculus students, on a test, you're going to be required to do tons of calculations at once. Pre-calculus, are you kidding? You might have, it looks like you have 4 problems, but each problem has 30 steps. And each step is a little more, it depends on the accuracy of your previous step. So you find out on number 29 that you miscalculated on number one, and you sit there and realize that you missed every one of them. That's why it's so difficult. But also, it can be very easy, I suppose. I'm not really a math guy. I'm only certified to teach math first grade through sixth grade, but I did take a little bit of middle school training to be a middle school math teacher, which it turned out it wasn't my path. But I saw what it involved, and I had practice in pre-calculus, which I just described. Many steps, and each successive step depends on the accuracy of the previous step to the point where you arrive at your answer, and it's not easy. It can be. It's easy for some. It's not easy for me. But I digress, because there's not everybody's going to go into all pre-calculus math and all this calculating math genius stuff. Some people are going to be that find I find great fulfillment in just doing basic assisting house builders, because I'm not even good enough to be a house builder at all. I mean, I'm like the guy that runs and gets stuff at the hardware store for the guy that really knows what he's doing when he fixes a leak underneath the sink, stuff like that. But not only that, but we have music and piano coming up, segments after the neighbors get up. It's already 7:45 almost, but it's still too early to do piano. Everybody have a beautiful Thursday, April 10th, 2025. Yay!